chat. And I gotta pop that out. Here we go. Drag that out. And I am going to give you some proof today why we are spirit and souls and what we can. Gotta go on Facebook Live now. Yeah, proof. Now I'm just gonna go on Facebook Live. Go live. Okay, got all set up here. Hi, Farah. Hi, sweetie. So if you guys want to ask me a question, I'm going to do a spiel, and I'm going to talk about proof that we are spirit, and this is proof from scientists. I will give you guys and I'm going to talk mostly about Bruce Lipton today and his scientific proof around spirit. And I will give you guys an idea of what I do. So I'm an astrologer, but I do a very ancient form of astrology, and I also have my own unique form around that. I do get answers from the universe. That's why I wrote this book, 101 Answers from the Universe. And I'm a researcher. And my friends and my family call me the Google Queen. But I'm also the YouTube Queen and the Gaia.tv Queen. And I just research. I am not a book reader. Not at all. I never have been. The only time I ever devoured books was when between the age of 17 and 20, and I discovered this series by V.C. Andrews. I don't know why I was addicted to those books. Then the author died, and their children tried to continue as ghostwriters, and it didn't cut the mustard, so I stopped reading, never read again, until I was about 23, 24, and I was working for a friend, helping them with their new company coming up. And I was complaining that I came from this family of intuitives, and my mom did sort of like party tricks, in the 60s. She was like a real flower child. And I didn't have it because I just had this logical, practical, if I can't see it, feel it kind of thing. And he introduced me to a book. I think he lent it to me. He goes, you might be interested in this. So I read it, and that's when I devoured books again. I read all 3 volumes on astrology within a month. Astrology is like learning Chinese or Arabic, because it's all symbols. And it's not easy. So I knew then, and then I also got proof, which was very accurate proof. Trust me, I need accurate proof because I've got this really strong left side of my brain. And that I did this in a past life. And it was way accurate, way before the internet age. And that's when you really know, right? So in the September, no, not even that, in the summer of 2019, the universe, I never liked to call myself psychic. So I always felt like I was getting downloads, I was getting information from some kind of source, right? I'm not a big believer in the human form that we call God. And I do believe in a higher power. But I believe it's a collective power. I believe it even more after I wrote this book, because I downloaded this book and it blew me away. So this book is for the average everyday person that literally has every single, and it's cheap. I hardly make any money off of this. But I was told, Holly, you have to have this out by January 1st, 2020. Now I know why. With the coronavirus, when this is over, okay, this is when the enlightenment is going to come around the coronavirus. Many of you may be asking, why? What am I supposed to do? Why is this happening? I'm terrified. I'm petrified. I'm frozen in fear. I'm questioning my mortality. I'm worried about my loved ones. I'm a spiritual light worker and I need to take action because there's so many people that gather. There's different parts of the universe that that broadcasts everywhere, and we can pick up that frequency. And you can look up the work of Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, one of my favorite. Dispenza, Joe Dispenza, which is more around the brain and the mind and everything, and Nassim Harasim, which you all know is one of my favorites. And they talk about the science around spirituality. So I was watching a round table. It's called The Three Amigos on YouTube if you want to look that up. And that's the three of them getting a Q&A session from an audience, and it's fascinating. So what you want to do is look up that, and also look up with Bruce Lipton, The Wisdom of Your Cells. Okay, because the wisdom of your cells, he talks a lot about how this as a mind, they sort of have their own little universe. They have their own little minds, and they pick up frequencies from what the universe broadcasts, and we choose that. Okay, so we choose that. So you think of yourself as a screen. Okay, think of yourself as a movie screen, like in a movie theater, and you choose what movie theater you want to go to, which is what your mind does. Okay, your mind chooses what it wants to focus on, what it wants to be entertained by, what it wants to think, how it wants to process it, and how it wants to perceive it. And that was the new thing. Just before the universities closed down, I was taking another course in psychology, and we were talking about perception. And perception is very strong in the self-help industry now. So I think we've kind of diluted what the meaning of deception, not deception. Whoa, is that from the universe? I'm going to have to, at Freudian slip there, I'm going to have to look at that one. Perception. And you know what? I know why I said deception, because we can deceive ourselves by our own angle of how we see things and think that's the only way that something needs to be seen. It's the only way it can be seen because it's your perception. And this has been proven. And this is why, we have all this stuff going on in the court systems, and it takes sometimes years, because they have to decipher and they have to sift through all the perceptions of the lawyers and the people that are involved, the witnesses, because it's proven that every single witness will see something completely different in the same crime, in the same event. And they've done in science, and I took this in psychology. Hi, Dr. Shivali. Hi, Charles. Hi, everyone. Hi, Laura. And we're going to do some free readings. Okay, so I'm not just babbling on. I'm going to do some free readings, so hang in there. But I always start off with my spiel. And they did studies on they would have groups of people watch movies and see what did they get out of, what did they see, and it was kind of a tricky type of clip, so that you could see it in different ways. You could see it as a crime scene, you could see it as something that was a pleasant experience for somebody. It was kind of convoluted clip, so could be easily perceived differently. So we choose in our brain how we want to perceive our outside world. And one of the things when I was watching The Three Amigos that I really liked what Joe Dispenza said is that often, and when I do charts with my clients, I have become sort of the master of what motivates people. And I've been fascinated by that since I was a kid. What makes you think differently than you? And we are in the same class. We go to the same school. We hang out with the same people. We have the same teachers. We basically have the similar parents that are especially in the 1970s and 80s in the working class world. And so that's when my fascination began. But what Joe Dispenza said was, often, and I see this so powerful with my clients, often what is happening on the inside is a lot more troublesome than what is really happening on the outside. Okay? And that's because of our perception and how we see things. So I'm just going to go through the table of contents in my book so you get an idea of what it's about. If you, like I said, it was downloaded to me. Some of it, I've always thought downloads were common sense. When I was younger, I thought, it's just common sense. Everybody knows this. But no, it's my perception. Everybody has their version of common sense, and your common sense may also be intuitive downloads. So now I know why we've had to know some of this, because now we're in the midst of chaos. And if you see my new video that I just put out, it's 1 minute. You can find it on my Facebook page. that hi everybody, I'm on YouTube and I am on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. So what we're going to do is do some readings. So just hang in there, okay? It's going to happen for sure. Now, when this starts to subside, and I know we're at the peak right now of the COVID, we will blossom into an awareness. Because you know how hindsight's 2020, and we're in the year of 2020. We're gonna look back when this subsides, and we're all gonna have, most of us, I hope all of us, but most of us will have this gigantic aha moment of the meaning of you and why you are here and what it means to be human and why we've been messing up our humanness and what we need to do individually to be able to heal all of us collectively so that we can evolve. So here is the table of contents. So it's in the beginning, which it talks a lot about source and God and if there's a God and blah blah blah. We are stardust, so the meaning of life, and that's a whole scientific thing about how we're made of the same atoms and the same gases, like molecules, as stars are. It talks about heaven. It's called Place Like Heaven. Karma, purification, and suffering. There's a whole section around why we suffer. One of the things that I do struggle with when I watch people like Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza is and the movies like The Secret is a concept that if you think a certain way, you can create your life. You can make this heaven on earth. And I believe that some of us are privileged and we can do that. And I believe most of you watching are these privileged people and that we can do that. But if you're born in Yemen, if you're born in parts of Asia, where you don't have control over that environment, especially when you're a child. Even when you're an adult, it's very hard to escape those environments. I mean, not just physically, it's just economically and government, there's a lot of red tape and it's difficult. So I always question, like, why them? Why am I privileged to have this opportunity to be able to create my own heaven on earth by changing my thinking and everything, but they're conflicted with this extreme external circumstances that would make it almost impossible to find happiness in those circumstances. Although I've watched a lot of TED Talks where people have done it, so it is possible, right? But those are a small percentage. And so those were answered in this book too, the suffering. There's healing in past lives, the meaning of you, the pursuit of happiness. There's a whole section on stress, depression, and mental health, especially around teenagers, and there's one on adults as well. There's love in soulmates. That one I really liked. The whole concept around what is love, what is soulmates. There's reincarnation. There's a section on charlatans. Don't know why I had to talk about that, but I think that there's so many gurus out there and so much self-help out there that there is a need to be careful of who you attach yourself, because you're your own guru, but it's wonderful to find guides to help keep you on that track, and that's what that talks about. There's a whole section on the meaning of life. The other one was the meaning of us. There's a whole section on evolving, destruction, and Atlantis. There's a whole section on the educational system, law of attraction, prayer, and source. There's a section on guides, angels, and aliens. Oh my, that's the title of that one. Questions from people like you. I reached out to my people and they asked me questions. And then there's a final word. And then there's a whole section on chakras. And I got the download. And this might be a real thing out there. So I might be, I mean, I know I am. I'm gathering from the collective. And there's a lot of people around the world that think this way as well too. That's why a lot of inventions were invented at the same time all over the world in the 1800s, in the 1700s, because they were taking from the collective, right? So that's all of our chakras are portals, and those are the areas that we get broadcast into. So those are our frequencies, and those are the channels, so to speak. So we've got, all our 7 chakras. So there's a whole section on that and what each chakra means and how those portals can open and close and how to try to keep them open. A lot of people, for instance, like myself with thyroid issues, since I was 21, that was my throat chakra that was closed. And that's when I knew of my gift, but I didn't want to share it with anybody. It wasn't conventional. And thanks to Dr. Shafali, who's here, I think she's still here. I'm able now to share that gift more widely in the last 2 years. And hopefully somebody picks up on my book. I keep bugging Greg Braden to look at it, but they're not easy people to get a hold of. So I'm just gonna, I know I've got some astrology stuff happening in June for me. So I believe, and also in December, January of 2021, in December 2020. So that's when I believe that will happen for me. But it's Uranus, when it gets into the chart, is completely unexpected. And so I'm a Virgo. I'm trying to pre-plan where I think that might be going. But I know as an astrologer that I can't, not with Uranus. But I know it's really pleasant and it puts me out there. And it's a very similar energy of when Dr. Shafali promoted me 2 years ago. So what I'm going to ask you to do now, because I want to help as many people as I can. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Laura. Hi, Tracy. I love it. And where's my chat for YouTube? I lost it. There you are. But there's nobody there yet. Hey, Passion and Lemon Tree, where are you? You two people have funky names. Okay, and then we've got Hi Veri on and Gabriel and Farah on Instagram. So this is how I need you to do this. I don't know if you can see it. When you ask me a question, and this makes this happen very quick and fast so that I can help as many people as I can in the next hour or so. And I'm probably going to go on again tonight, okay? Because I can't go during the week too much because I get really busy with clients on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So, oh, by the way, you can buy my book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I think it's $1 cheaper on Barnes & Noble. So askhollyhall.com. That's where you can find me on my website, and Ask Holly Hall and all my social media. So I want you to put like May 1st, 1987. Obviously, you're not all going to put May 1st, 1987. But I want you to spell out the month. Don't put numbers, because like people in Australia put it the other way around, and plus I don't like to count, do the math. And then if you have your time, put your time and make sure you put AM or PM, and then your question, all in one line. Okay, Georgia, hi sweetie, and then all in one line. Okay, and then I will start answering questions. Nassim Haramein, which is a radical physicist, self-taught, don't believe he ever finished, didn't go to school, and he roamed Canada. He's from Sweden. He's got a French accent, so I think he was from the French part of Sweden, or Switzerland. Yeah, French part of Sweden. And then he came to the French part of Canada, so he's got quite an accent. Hey, Laura. And so we're going to look at Laura right away. Anyways, he talks about the connected universe. And if you look at my my introduction video on my website, askhollyhall.com, you will see that he's from the connected universe. He's intertwined in my video as well. And you want to, on YouTube, it's free. You want to go look at the connected universe for sure. And he talks about the connection from the universe, astrophysics, and that we do feel that energy. We get energy from that. And I believe that astrology is that language. Again, I interpret that. But that's just like a tiny, tiny platform, because as soon as I start looking at it, because I've got astrology friends that go, Holly, there's no way you get all of that from looking at a chart. I can't even do that. Just stuff starts happening. Just starts, and I start seeing things, and people are like, are you a fly on my wall? And then I also, in my book, recommend a lot of reading material, but of course I have to put a plug out. There is Dr. Shafali. She's one of the ones that I highly recommend too, because the biggest theme throughout the book, and the biggest theme throughout your life, is to know thyself. When you know yourself, you dispel fear. When you know yourself, You let go of blocks, you accept them, and that allows you to move forward and to make different decisions and make different choices than you would make if you don't know who you are and you're trying to be somebody that you're not, and you don't accept your strengths and your challenges, because the shadow and the light, the yin and the yang, belongs to each characteristic that you have. Okay? And in a bad situation, in the wrong place, in a state of misplaced aggression, you will use the shadow side of a gift. All right? But people say, well, I want to get rid of that shadow side. Well, you can't. Because if you get rid of the shadow side, you get rid of the light side. You get rid of the, we have to have both. So it's just a matter of knowing when to use them and when not to. So now I've got Bettina as well. So I'm going to do Laura first. And then Bettina, can you copy and paste when I ask you next? I'm looking around crazy because I'm looking for a pen, which I don't have. So I can't write everything down. So I'm going to I will copy and paste you. Bettina, Farah, when does the shutdown lift? So excuse me, thank you. I like questions around the universe too. There are going to be shutdowns of the internet, and there's already been some in the UK. We've been having them in pockets here. I predicted this before. I thought the internet was going to go crazy. So I see that happening at the end of May. It's going to go in pockets until then. So I'm going to copy and paste yours, Bettina. And then I'm going to go to October 3rd. And she would like some direction. And I know that I looked at, Laura's a longtime client of mine. And I've read for her a few times. If you're shy and you don't want to share your birth date or your year, which some of us do, then you can PM me. Okay? Taking a chance though, because I don't know if I can look at the PMs at the same time. But I will do my best. I need to move that over. There we go. 77. So one of the things that I loved about your chart when I look at yours, Laura, is that you, as you know, you're a strong Libra, which means you've got a lot of Libra in your chart. And when somebody has a lot of Libra in their chart, what they're here to do is they're here to learn to take on the characteristics of the peacekeeper. Okay, but you don't want to be, you meant about quarantine, Farah, that's what I'm seeing. That'll be in pockets, and that will take some time according to the elevation of risk in certain environments. So I see it start to lift in June and August and then October. Those are the 3 phases. And then in October is when I see it, everybody's free to roam. Again, that's what I'm seeing around that. So when you're a peacekeeper, you don't want to do peace at all cost, which means it's very difficult for people with strong Libra in their chart to make choices and make decisions, because they're trying to please everybody and they're trying to make everybody happy, and they're bringing in what they think is what somebody else wants. So for instance, I may make a choice for my family, okay, because I think this is what my husband wants and I think this is what my children want. And yet I don't really know that. I'm doing that because I want to keep the peace and I don't want any arguing, and it's very self-serving. Okay, it looks like it's projected as if you're an extremely nice person and you just want to make everybody happy, but it's very self-serving, and it creates people walking on eggshells because they want to please you back. Like, oh, I want to make sure that you have carrots for your dinner every night because you just love those carrots I made 3 years ago. Right? And the person's going, I'm going to keep eating these carrots because it's making her happy that she's feeding me these carrots that I liked 3 years ago, but I don't really like carrots anymore and I don't want to tell her. right? So that's what happens, right? So you need to have these round table discussions. And I think this is what this COVID is going to start to do too. We're going to start to get to know each other on a level that we never knew before. And you're going to find out that your kid doesn't like carrots because now he's eating it every night instead of 3 times a night when you make dinner, and the other nights you didn't have time to make dinner, right? So, but what's happening with you, Laura, is it started in February 2020, and you're working really hard at creating some communication boundaries. And that means you no longer want to be the people pleaser. You no longer want to be what you think other people want. And I want you to, then that's an intuitive insight that you're coming into, and you're able to have these very clear discussions. Now, you may find that you went from one end of the pendulum to the other. And so what happens when we come to this realization, we get so excited that we start, spewing out all of these boundaries around communication and just blah, 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 blah. And the other people are overwhelmed around that, your new need for freedom around boundaries, because they're used to the old standards. They're used to the old boundaries that you've had, and they're not quite shifting as quickly as you are. Okay, so communication is getting much smoother, and you're also starting to create what your long-term relationship is going to look like in relationships. 2 years ago was very challenging for you in relationships, and it created a severe depression actually, and you knew that you weren't voicing and having your own personal needs met. And this had to do with something that happened long before that, way in the past. So this was stuff that was coming to the surface. Because one of the things that's very important for you on a daily basis is communication. And not necessarily deep communication, like you're not like the psychiatrist that just wants to know the meaning of why everybody's doing what they're doing, so you have to talk to me about it, which can be overwhelming for people. It's more about feelings. You want to be able to communicate feelings and that people understand the feelings, but you come across very logical and practical and rational and problem solving. That's the strong Virgo in you. And so you come across as a Q&A. And so people think you just want answers. And so so the feelings didn't come across. So you would walk away feeling like you weren't heard, that your feelings weren't heard. So this is the year when this is your coming out party. Okay, I want you to get that song. I'm coming out. I want the world to know. I think that's Gloria something, not Gloria Estefan. It's Gloria, she's like a one-hit wonder. So, or Diana Ross. I think that's Diana Ross. Because that's you. That's what's coming out, sister. You are coming out. And you're going to be well received, and you're going to be well heard. And I would like some feedback, if that's possible, Laura. So hi Sarah Smith, she's my wonderful musician friend, musical friend here in Canada, but she's popular everywhere. And Kim, so when are you going to move forward? When are you going to have this complete separation? Because that's what you're doing right now. You want a separation. And what a lot of people do is they'll look at their partners, or they'll look at their jobs, or they'll look at their family environment, and they'll be like, I want to get out of Dodge. I just want to separate from them, and it just brings me joy, and it brings me freedom, and it's like I've gone from out of my cocoon into a butterfly, and I'm ready to fly. I'm so excited, but you're a Libra, so it's like, but it's bringing other people down. I'm flying and everybody is still down there. They're still caterpillars, and how do I bring them with me? But I can't because I want to fly. So you're gonna have to work with that within yourself, of not being the people pleaser, not being the problem solver for everyone. And that's going to break through at this time next year. I know that sounds like it's far away, but this whole process is not complete until this time next year. If you do it before that, which means you fly the coop or you fly off without all your other caterpillar friends, then it's still going to be, no matter where you are, it's still going to be something that you're going to be having to process through until March 2021. All right? So you're going to be still bursting yourself out of this cocoon until then. So be patient. this is not a, it's very difficult to be patient right now because it's a Uranus energy and it's exciting and it's expansive and you just want to grow and evolve and just move on without all of this problem solving. And so what I would suggest, and the universe is going to tell you, stop problem solving for other people. It's their job, not yours. Okay? And that's it. You can listen to their problems, you can collaborate around the problems, you can hear their feelings just like you've always wanted, but that's all you can do. So hopefully that's helped. So now we're going to look at, so that answer you, Farah, on, let me look what's going on with YouTube. And that is, let me make that small. Nobody. That's very odd. I always have somebody on YouTube. So now we've got April 1st. Happy birthday, girl. It was your birthday this week. And you're a youngin'. That's what I'm going to say, because you are. And this is, so you are an Aries. And so you're here to learn courage and bravery in the face of fear. And your question is, what should I focus on in my life? That's a pretty broad question. What should you focus on? Well, you can focus on learning who you are. And when you discover and learn who you are, then you know what you're supposed to be focusing on in life. How is that? General question, general answer. Okay, let me see if something strongly pops out. Okay. When I do a 1 hour session with my clients, which you can go, I've got such a freaking half price, $79, okay, an hour. You can't beat that. You can thank our chaos that we're in for the wisdom of me finding that to help support people. When I do an hour, we will take a question like that and we'll start to deconstruct it, as Dr. Shafali would say. And then I find out what you mean by that. Because a lot of us will say, I just want to be happy. I just want to be wealthy. I want to be healthy. I want to find love. But there's a much more deeper, convoluted reason for why you want all of that. Right? There's more to it. Why do you want that? Did you come from a tainted childhood that says, I didn't have this when I was a child, so I want the adult child to have this in their life, and I don't care how I get it. Right? So just find me a love. Or is it that I want some freedom because I have financial insecurity issues, and if I had money, I would no longer have those financial security issues. Then we take a look at that, because all the money in the world isn't going to solve that for you, because then you'll just be afraid of losing all your money all the time, right? So we take a deeper look at that. So I want to see if there's anything that stands out for you. You just had some communication in March. You got some news that you're very happy with, and that news was around taking, you might have even started taking a course, and that has to do with healing, because you're a healer. And you're also a leader. You got very strong leadership capabilities. But you work really well with groups of people. And I know there's a shy part of you. And that shy part of you, which is going to come into focus, not until 2022. Okay? It's going to be the end of 2021 and 2022. But because I'm giving you this information right now, I can literally give you a heads up on this. And you can start working on it now. And that is, start finding your way to connect to source. You can do this through, and this is strengthening the right side of your brain. And you can do this through creativity, any type of creativity. I don't care if you're coloring in a kid's coloring book, or you're doodling, or that you're, somebody PM'd me a question. No, Bob, there isn't going to be a comment that's going to destroy the earth. I know I know what he's talking about, because there's been talk about that But look at Greg Braden's work historically, and you'll see why that's not going to happen like it happened in apparently Atlantis. So you what you want to do is work as strongly on the right side of the brain as you can, so that, and when you do that, you open up the creative areas. Also, our creative areas are from the heart chakra down, and that's our creativity areas. So you want to do, you can go on YouTube. There's binary beats. There's hertz. I think 825 hertz is the creativity level, but there's a whole bunch, and you want to work on those, that area from the heart center down. Okay, what has been blocked most of your life is the heart chakra, and that's because you had to brave through a very challenging childhood that was scary, and it was volatile, and it was frightening, and it was unpredictable, and it was but there was, and it had you feeling very vulnerable, and a feeling of loneliness around that. And yet you did have a parent that was very colorful, vivacious. Um, Everybody knew who they were. Okay, they were quite popular in their sphere, and so you learned a lot from that. And so in 2023, end of 2022, 2023 is where you're going to shine bright. So I know, Bettina, if you can answer to that, if I can get some feedback from it. Andrea says she loves reading my book. Can you put in there why you love reading my book? That's from the internet is slow. Plus, I'm broadcasting on 3 different areas. So I got August 31st. Okay, Steph, I think I've done one for you recently. So I'm going to see if somebody else chimes in. Otherwise, I definitely will. Because, and then you've got your boyfriend in there. And were we supposed to move in together the month of May? But it's put on hold because of the virus. When will he sell his house? And did how much, and move together. Okay, so look at that. Yes, he was abuser, Bettina. Okay, that's the father. And you love to write. Okay, great. So I want you to start channeling. Okay, and channeling isn't like what we see it on TV, because those kind of channelers, some of them drive me crazy. I'm like, you guys, I can make that shit up. But I'm yet to see one that I really, really think is cool. But what I mean by channeling is just like your radio channel, okay? Just like the TV channel is. Look at this. My hair is gonna drive me crazy. There we go. Is you can switch the channel, and you can bring in from the muses, which is one of the energies out in the universe, and that's our creative place, and just start writing, and automatic writing. I did a whole thing on automatic writing. You just do one word at a time when you automatic write, okay, Bettina? And you didn't hear the last part, okay, but this will be you can get this again after we're done, and I want you to listen to it, okay, Bettina? It'll be really important to you to listen to that. So in just to recap, 2022, 2023 is when you're going to come out, and you're going to be speaking about being a leader around what you write and what you create. Okay, so right now, I want you to start that writing. I want you to start that creating, and be brave. Talk about what people don't want to hear. Okay, and talk about your childhood, because when we have, the more challenging and difficult our childhood is, that is a huge red flag that you know what you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime. And what you're supposed to be doing is around, either in your case, being abused and not being heard and feeling invisible, and the anger around that, and possibly other people who make themselves small because of that abuse. You can write about that, and that will heal. Anything that you talk about, anything that you communicate in writing, talking, creating, communicating, that's your healing power. That's your gift, and you're a leader in that. So I don't care if there's 10 people following you or 10,000 people following you. That's your mission. That's what you need to do. And that's going to manifest at the end of 2021. Sorry, 2022. And that sounds like really far away, but it's not. Okay, it's a year and 8 months away. It's 18 months away. You know, we can pop out a baby and teach them how to walk in that time. Look back, that didn't take a lot of time, did it? So now let's take a look at, see if anybody on Instagram has anything to say. Does anybody on YouTube have any questions? I'm really popular on Facebook right now. Thank you, Bettina, for your feedback. And I'm going to take a look at boyfriend, November 15th, another youngin'. And we're going to see if he's going to sell his house when he's going to move. You know what I really like about this question is I just got some feedback in an email because somebody did a mini reading, which means they paid $30 for 2 questions. And I email them back their answer. I don't have a conversation with them. And just via email. And it was about moving, when they were going to sell their house. So I told them when, and that she was going to get as much as she wanted, if not more. November 15th, 79. It's one thing I can't, I can remember an entire conversation, even if I talked to you freaking a year ago. But can I remember numbers? No, I can't remember numbers. Numbers is my weak thing. Okay. And then, so right when the coronavirus started, she was like, we haven't sold the house yet. I don't even think we're going to get what we wanted because of everything that's happening. And she wanted reassurance. And my reassurance is always the same. I stand by my original prediction. That's it. It will still happen. The cycle isn't over yet because I gave her 3 specific dates, months. And then 3 weeks later, she just emailed me like a couple of days ago and said that they sold the house and they got exactly what they wanted, which they were very surprised at considering the environment. So there you go. Maybe that'll give you some confidence, Steph, that what I'm going to say can happen. One of the things that people ask me is a difference between free will. A lot of people are afraid to have readings because they don't want their free will taken away and they don't want to feel like they have complete control. They want to feel they have complete control. They don't want to feel like there's control. So there is a combination of planets right now. That is what we read that talked about this difficult times that's happening right now, and that's why I wrote the book 2020 and 101 Answers from the Universe. And I had a client who's an extreme worry wart. Everything is doom and gloom. Asked me, knew about this combination and said, what is going to happen? What is going to happen during that time to me, right? Now, I knew that globally it was going to affect us, but how it affected each individual person personally is completely different. So I said that globally there's going to be some radical changes, but you will be healthy, your family will be healthy, and you will continue not to be affected by this. Now she's come back and said, challenged me on that because it is affecting her because she's a doom and gloom person and she perceives things to be catastrophe no matter what. However, her family is still healthy. Their family still has their jobs and much better place than some of us are. So, but it's affecting her because that's her perception. That's her perspective, right? So let's take a look at when the house will sell. I see that it was put up just a couple of weeks ago, actually. So that must have been delayed somehow. And I'm going to take a look at, I don't see anything holding it back there. That's what might be holding it back. Okay, 3. I wanted to see when he gets out of that. 3, excuse my, it's funny because I talk about numbers all the time when I'm doing my predictions. I'm spewing out all these numbers, but that's the the degree that the planet is in. So yeah, so you're out of the woods. April is fine. The selling of the house, 13. There's a real challenge around the selling of that house, even up until next summer. So the so even if he sells the house, there's still a challenge around his living environment and his finances up until next summer. It goes away, there's a break, and then next summer comes and there's some financial issues again. And he has a really hard time making decisions. It's and that's part of the challenge for him, which he's working on. That's the gift that he's working on, is make a damn decision. And he needs his freedom. He loves his freedom. So there's a part of him energetically that's not really ready to let go of the house. So he may stick to a certain financial desire because it kind of allows him to sit on the fence. Well, if I don't get this, then guess I'm not moving, right? So give me feedback around that. But we got Leo 27, and I know that Jupiter's moving into Sag, and that can be your saving grace. And then I don't know what time he's at, so I can't look at the fourth house or anything around that. And there's some ego involved in there. So let me see if I can. And you're August 31st. So let's take a look at you. So I want you to take a look at some of the underlying issues. Does he really want to move? I mean, he can be a lot of talk and then not a lot of action, because he really likes his freedom. He's a good guy, don't get me wrong. And he's romantic, so he likes to look at the idealistic, romantic. He loves to look at the future, but he really desires freedom. And often when we desire freedom, when we're a freedom-oriented person, there's nothing wrong with that. We create an environment that allows us to continually live out that story. And so we choose people that give us that freedom. We have circumstances that give us that freedom. We choose not to make decisions because it allows us to still sit in a place of where we have freedom, no commitments. So they have commitment issues, right? And some of us are not here to commit. You know, what you desire does not mean because another person doesn't desire it that it's not, that there's something wrong with them. It just means you're not on the same page. So August 31st, 1981 is what I'm going to look at, because you're just a youngin' as well. I know you're thinking, we get to this halfway point where it's like, I want my life to change now. And I think that you're going through what's called a Uranus opposition. And that is when we take a look at, things aren't happening. I want them to happen. So November. Everything works out for you in November. And so I do see it being pushed out that far. Yeah. November is when it's going to happen for you. Very sudden, unexpected change at the beginning of May. So why aren't you moving into his house? Why is he selling his house? There's a distance between the two of you. That's what's going on. And but everything is in your favor really soon, just in the next couple of weeks. All right. And then November, very comfortable around that. And it allows him to have his freedom too at the same time. And allows you to have your freedom, because you're really big around freedom as well. Except only now, not normally. Normally you're a cozy person who just wants to have her home and everybody in her home there, and cook for them every single night and sit there and watch movies with each other every night. You love that. He doesn't like that. Okay, so you guys are very different in that way, and that's what you're good. The fastest you work on that now, the better. So there's a distance between you two, and you haven't discovered those changes within you. So give me some feedback around that, Steph. And Bettina is laughing she got a little emoji. I love that, Holly, where she's laughing. Okay, so give me some feedback around that. And hi Denise, love you too, honey. Got to get back to work. Where are you working? I think you work at the LCBO, so that's why. Any thoughts on what we can all do to get through COVID with wellness? Yes, surrender. So if you go to and know yourself, okay? So what is your strength? First of all, since most of us who have very powerful strengths see it as a weakness, especially during a time like this. What I want you to do, and we're going to sit with this, it's going to be an exercise right now. So thank you, Rad, she's an attorney, a lawyer in Canada, and she's a client of mine too, and has sent me so many people. Thank you, sweetie. So many of her clients I work with. And let's sit with what is your weakness? I want you to type it out right now if you dare. Okay, what are your weakness? Mine is I can think negatively. And what I've done with that, I have these negative thoughts in my head. Most of it is uh, narcissistic, so it's always about me. I'm negative about me, and the person that then my husband, he gets it too. Whoever's really close to me. So I listen to Louise Hay every single morning. It's ready to go. It's all queued up, and I listen to about an hour as I'm waking up to positive affirmations. So I'm rewiring. Okay, look at Joe Dispenza's work, rewiring my brain, and it's really, really helpful. Now that's the shadow side of the light side of a problem solver. Problem solvers always look for problems to solve. And I have learned to stop myself from going, Holly, that's not your problem to solve. You don't need to solve it. And I've had to have some really powerful dialogues with my partner in order for us to deal with that dialogue that I have around problem solver. He's a problem solver too. So then so then he wants to help problem solve my problems that I'm trying to solve. Um, so what is your weakness? Okay, if you're a worrier, if you have anxiety, if you get stressed out easily, if you are a problem solver, are you a rescuer? Do you panic in the face of chaos, but you act immediately? There's this need to, like, I gotta act now. That is the rescuer. That's the warrior. Okay, what is that? So, whatever that is, I want you to find the opposite. So, the worrier is a problem solver because they worry about the problems that they need to solve that haven't happened yet. So, they're planners and they look forward into the future. Okay, usually those are people with strong Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn energy. And but that doesn't necessarily mean, I know somebody who's a Cancer and they got a lot of Capricorn in their chart. So don't just look at your sun sign. That's when you have a reading with me and you find out all the other 344 layers that you have. That's the sort of the number around that. So whatever the opposite is, that is what, Rad, you use to create wellness. So I'm a worrywart, but I'm a problem solver. And so what am I doing? I'm doing these live videos, and that's helping me engage, and that's helping me use my problem solving skills, and I'm helping all of you feel better. That's what I'm told. Okay, that it's helping you feel better. And if you're looking for a reading, I want you to put, because I'm going to do a couple more, I want you to put down this: your date, your year, your time, if you know what time you were born, and then the question, all in one sentence, and I'll answer a question for you. Okay? And I'm just going to put in YouTube. So I don't have a lot of followers on YouTube, so that's why it's probably kind of dead, but I had some action a couple days ago there. Now, in your case, Rad, I believe you are also a problem solver. And you like to work one-on-one with people. You're much more reserved. You're much more shy. You like to help support people around that. So you would want to use that problem-solving skill to reach out to your clients that you may not be, well, you can't see right now, right? So you could do some private Zooms with your clients and talk about how is this challenging their relationships. If you're doing divorces with them, you might want to have a group around that. If you're got other clients in, I don't even know what type of lawyering that you do, but I have another friend who's a lawyer and that's what she specializes in, is divorce. So if that happens to be the case, then you might want to bring them together privately, or you can offer to go one on one, right? Because some of them might want to be private around that. If you've got words of wisdom on how this may be challenging them during this time, how that how they share that word of wisdom in a blast, in an email blast, and that can help. Okay, and I know that sounds like, what does that have to do with wellness, Holly? This is our time to serve. And when you find that way of serving, to give back, to be that one that helps the many, right? There's strength in numbers. But it takes, that's the end of my new video that I put up. The power of one is the power of all. And we now need to be that power of one. We need to step up, all hands on deck. We need to support and help each other as much as we can. And the more that you do that, the more that you will feel wellness, the more that you will feel healthy. Now, some of the research that I've been doing, and I'm not a medical professional, okay, but some of the research I've been doing and watching people who are medical professionals, but not just medical, they're also more on what would call the unconventional medical arena, is zinc. But you go to get zinc, it's like off the shelves right now, but I found a place to order it online, and I don't remember what that place is, but you can PM me if you want to know. And then copious amounts of C and E is a new one that I heard is important. I've been taking zinc. I always take zinc, and I take it at night and in the morning because of my thyroid. So, and then of course social distancing. But for emotional wellness, do as much as you can to help support others. And know, 100% know that there is a reason for this. There is a healing on this planet that's happening. And if you're an empath, you're going to feel a lot of this energy and you're going to take it on as if it's your own. What I do is, you see right behind me, this is my altar, and this is where I do my meditation and my rituals. I have some rituals that help me with my health, because I get a lot in my chest and in my throat area, which is kind of scary right now, because that's where the illnesses are supposed to start to, their symptoms start to take in. But mine has been coming and going for 3 weeks now. So I know that I'm taking on the energy of other people. So I come to my altar, I turn on my healing hertz music sound from YouTube, and I have a mantra that says, my body, mind, and soul is happy, healthy, and whole. And then I have a couple other mantras and rituals. I allow, and this is what my hypnosis friend and Reiki healer, Bob Lane, you can look him up on my Facebook. He helps me as well, because I've come to this new healing ability, and I became sort of overwhelmed by that because I've been trying to help people, and that created more anxiety in me. So I've taken a little bit of a break, and so what I do is I just allow and I surrender. And on my YouTube channel or on my Insight, you can find my surrender meditations. And what I do is I surround myself with white pink light. My light is white, and I got pink and gold sparkles inside of it. That's what I imagine. That's protecting me while I'm in my meditation. And then I just imagine that same type of light coming from the universe into my crown chakra, and I just allow the universe to heal me. And that's what I do, is I try to get the panic away. And I'll be honest with you, I'll be vulnerable with you guys. I've always had panic attacks, anxiety since I was 29, and that comes from a physical ailment that I had. I went into semi-coma state with a thyroid crash. I was in the hospital. Took them a week to discover what was wrong, and then I had 24/7 panic attacks after that. And that was right around when my astrology gift came into play. So the connection with the universe, I believe, was too overwhelming for my control freak mind. And that need to control created those panics to become worse. Plus, I was also, my thyroid was learning as well. And my YouTube just went off. So, no, Instagram. And I can't take any medications for it. They try to give me Ativan and lorazepam and all those ands to help me, but they just gave me, there's a name for it, but it's supposed to take away panic. It would give me a panic attack. And therefore, I couldn't take anything. That's when I got onto all this crystal healing, and I tried everything. Now, in the last year or so, I found from a hospital visit that then wasn't panic related, but they wanted to give me Ativan, and I was like, no, gonna give me a panic attack. And my blood pressure was way too high because I was freaking out with a procedure they were gonna give me, just some CAT scan blood work, make sure I was healthy, and I am. And so I could take a nibble, and it worked. So now, when I was having these extreme panic attacks, I was taking these nibbles. And this is a nibble off of a 0.5 milligram. So as you know, that's not really that much. So it's kind of a homeopathic, really, way. And that's what I was doing. And that was making me crazy because I don't like to take medication. So then I thought, I'm not going to do a nibble now. I'm going to go here and meditate and allow, which is what Bob Lane taught me, the universe to come into me and heal me. I don't know what that power is. I don't know what that source is. I do kind of know, but I don't really, really know. But I know from what was downloaded to me in this book. But it really doesn't matter, because if it's God to you, then that is what it is. It really is. It's not just, I'm not humoring you like, oh, if you want it to be God, then okay, then it's God. No, it really is. If it's Allah to you, that's what it is. If it's universal source, that's what it is. If it's a collective consciousness, that's what it is. Just allow whatever that is to come through you. Don't name it, okay? Just claim it and let it come through you. And that's what I do. And I sit there until I feel better. I sit there until the chest pain goes away, or the chest pressure. I sit there until the throat area feels better. And then I sit even a little bit longer, and then it's gone. That's what works for me. So hopefully that's helpful for all of you. I am going to sign off now. And I may be on later on tonight. Namaste.